This GBVIMS video short is an overview of the Information Sharing Protocol. Information sharing is an essential component of interagency GBV coordination and collaboration, and can help illustrate trends in reported incidents, highlight gaps in response or prevention activities, and strengthen advocacy for improved programming. However, due to the highly sensitive nature of GBV data, the potential benefits and risks of sharing information to produce regional or interagency statistics must be carefully considered. Above all, service providers must protect clients' right to confidentiality and not risk drawing undue attention to themselves, their clients, or their communities. Releasing sensitive data, intentionally or unintentionally, in a manner that does not fully consider all of the possible implications can jeopardize ethics and put survivors, communities, and program staff at risk. Before sharing GBV data, organizations should consult the World Health Organization's ethical and safety recommendations for researching, documenting, and monitoring sexual violence in emergencies, 8 recommendations to ensure that data shared is done so in an ethical manner and does not draw unwanted attention to survivors, programs, agencies, or communities. Before we talk about the protocol, let's first identify some of the common challenges with GBV data. First, decisions are often made regarding survivors' data without their consent or knowledge. Any information sharing must be contingent on their informed consent to sharing. Survivors are in control of their information. The role of informed consent is to ensure that survivors are aware of and understand the purpose and content of the data collected at the point of service provision, the procedures that will be followed during the course of, and also their rights. Second, the safety and security of survivors and service providers must be considered before any data collection occurs. If data are to be shared, this should only be done with the utmost consideration for the safety of those who could be put at risk by the dissemination of such information. This includes the individual providing the data, the person collecting it, community members, and service providers. Third, there is often a lack of understanding or a consensus on the level of data to be shared or how that data is to be used. Organizations and agencies interested in sharing information need to discuss and determine a safe level of information to be shared that does not jeopardize survivor safety and respects survivor confidentiality and consent. Fourth, information shared that is aggregated with other organizations' data should be shared back to the original organizations to inform their programs. The flow of information cannot be one direction only. Finally, there needs to be a process in place to regulate information sharing. The information sharing protocol is a vehicle to make sure that the data to be shared, the time frame, and the parameters are clear and agreed upon. There is often a lack of consensus between agencies about what information should be shared with which actors and under what circumstances. Sometimes this discrepancy is not initially apparent because different organizations may assume that they have the same understanding of who will receive what data and how it will be used. However, these assumptions may emerge and cause problems further into the project cycle. Organizations considering sharing information with any organization outside their own should develop an Interagency Information Sharing Protocol, or ISP, to help ensure sharing happens effectively and ethically. Explicitly documenting an agreement between organizations regarding data sharing avoids these problems and establishes predictable reporting cycles. The GBVIMS ISP has a template that can help achieve this by developing necessary guidelines and standards of practice that ensure a transparent process for safe, effective, and ethical information sharing, by facilitating discussions on interagency collaboration with regards to incident data collection and sharing, and by stimulating secure and ethical information sharing inside the GBV community. The Information Sharing Protocol creates an opportunity to discuss information sharing. This discussion in itself promotes the need for ethical data sharing and ensures that the risks around information sharing are identified and mitigated. It enables actors to have a clear understanding of what information should be shared, why the information is being shared, for what purpose, when it will be shared, the time frame, by whom and how, what level of data. It clearly defines the roles and responsibilities of all parties involved in the information sharing process. It establishes parameters around the use of data shared, and it defines to what degree organizations should be credited or protected in the publication of statistics. The process of developing the ISP is as important as the final document. A participatory, collaborative, inclusive, and respectful process supports trust development among partners, facilitates information sharing, and contributes to a more robust humanitarian response to gender-based violence. There are several sections that make up the information sharing protocol. First, the purpose. This explains the intention of the ISP. The ground rules. This specifies the basic rules to be followed when sharing information. This section defines responsibilities of the GBVIMS implementing agencies and the responsibilities of the National Consolidation Agency or any agencies responsible for information sharing consolidation at a regional or subnational level. It establishes the role of the agency consolidating or compiling GBV data from various data gathering organizations. Internal information sharing procedures and reports. This defines and describes what information should be included, the frequency of sharing, and areas of coverage in reports submitted by data gathering partners to the consolidating agency. Data security. This establishes the necessary precautions and considerations made to ensure the security of all data and the actors who are collecting the data. When others request GBV information, this describes the procedures for sharing information with external agencies and other actors, such as government or, in some cases, the media. Time limit. This defines the duration of the information sharing protocol and sets a date for its review and renewal. Breaches. This outlines actions to be taken when there is a breach in the protocol. And finally, annexes. As part of the ISP, annexes should be included containing examples, based on fictional data, of correctly formatted reports, the list of organizational focal points, and the data protection protocol, among others. If you have assigned ISP in your setting, staff that interact with survivor data in any way, including aggregate data, are required to be informed about the content of the ISP. Interagency data sharing is governed by this protocol, so it is the responsibility of each signing organization or agency to make sure their staff are informed about the protocol, know the process if they need to request data, or if they get a request for data. There are several activities you can organize to make sure your staff are informed. First, you can hold a meeting for staff that details the purpose of and the content of the information sharing protocol. Next, you can identify an organizational focal point to receive questions. And third, you can provide reference materials for staff to refer to. This could include a one-pager on the information sharing protocol and other information about safety and ethics in information sharing. You can find the information sharing protocol resource package on our website, which holds more information about the process and the protocol. As always, be responsible with your data and learn more at gbvims.com. Thank you for watching this GBVIMS video short.